Hello everybody and welcome to this very special Grindcast. It's going to be all about Diablo 3 and Warlords of Dreanor Alpha. Yeah, I'm just going to dedicate this one to both of those games. Going to do our own little personal 2-week reviews where we're at in Diablo 3 Reaper Souls. And all the juicy stuff in the Warlords of Dreanor Alpha. So I am joined by my late ever so poignant co-host Beta.
Hey.
And I ever so worn, hot under the collar Canadian Quad.
Hello.
Yes. Apparently it is already summer in Canada and fans are required. Is that so?
I'm a fan.
I think he's already died.
Canadian fan.
Rip Quad.
Alrighty. So with that, wow, it's been a while since our last one. We were supposed to do one last week, and Quad and myself did attempt to do one, except I was still recovering from being sick, and the title of that one was "Death Becomes Us," and it quite literally was. Quad was sick, I was sick, and it showed. So that's why that one never quite made it to YouTube. Maybe we'll splice it up into spoofs. Who knows? So, but other than that, I've been getting better, and then the other day I had to go for a back x-ray. Yeah. Apparently my back does not like me anymore. And I haven't even hit 30 yet, so I cry. But, other than that, enjoying Diablo 3 Reaper Souls. Enjoying it. I got my wizard up to just over the 1 million damage buff mark, and I'm almost at the 10 mil toughness mark. I want to be 1 in 10. That's just nice sound numbers to be at, I think. But getting some sweet legendaries, as always. Putting way too many Forgotten Souls in items that shouldn't even be thought of using in the first place. And holding on to my gold as much as I can for as long as I can. But that's pretty much all that's been going on with me. Slacker over here, Beta, what's been up with you?
Hey! I've been playing a lot of Diablo 3, and I'm starting to wind down on that a little bit. I was going pretty hardcore for a couple weeks, and now I'm just kind of a little burnt out. I'm still enjoying it, but giving other games a go. I did get into the Heroes of the Storm Alpha, and I've been playing that from time to time. But just something about that game, I don't want to badmouth the game or anything, but it's not keeping my interest like I hoped it would. So I'm not gonna give up on the game.
Shun the non-believer.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give up on the game by any means, but we'll talk about that more.
Alrighty, and Quad, our quaint Canadian as ever, what have you been up to the past week or two?
Still holding out on Diablo because I want ladders. However, doing the Hearthstone, almost rank 5, pushing for it already.
Nice.
Do love the Hearthstone.
That fan.
Yeah.
You know how hot it is here in Canada?
Dude, you gotta turn the fan off.
Okay, I'll bite. How hot is it?
Let me Google it.
That's a new one.
It's 28 degrees Fahrenheit, since you guys use Fahrenheit.
It's what, 28?
What?
Really? That's like, wow. Okay, no comment. I don't think I need you to talk for the rest of this, but metaphorically, don't talk. Metaphorically only, not literally. All right.
It's much hotter in this room than it is outside.
Oh, then turn down the thermostat then. Alright, let's move on from this. Never mind. Alright, so what do we want to do first? Do we want to talk about Diablo 3 first, or want to talk about WoW first? I'll let you guys pick.
StarCraft.
No, it's Warlords of Dreanor or Diablo 3, because I don't think we have enough time to talk about everything this week. So, which one?
Heroes of the Storm.
No, because you haven't played enough to.
I've played it. I've played it. What? I'm gonna talk about it.
All right, keep it short. Then.
Okay. Not much new news in the game. They did just do the new rotation real recently, which brings get to play like Chiriola and a couple other guys. So I'm looking forward to playing them. To me, the game feels a little unresponsive compared to other games like Dota and League of Legends. It feels kind of it just feels a little bit unresponsive. It's like it almost felt like I was playing with like 100 to 200 ping, when I wasn't. My latency was like 50 to 30, and that just kind of really put me off. And the health pools of the game seemed kind of high, so it was kind of hard to like land kills. It really took some cooperation with other people just to land some kills, especially because you can just kind of go back to base and heal up pretty easily. It's not that far, and there's mounts, so you can go back into combat really fast. But I did like some of the fighting mechanics and the jungle mobs, and being able to solo those with the barbarian. I was playing the female barbarian for a while, and her whirlwind ability made a pretty nice cleave attack, and I could solo some of the camps that helped boost our team and win fights. So that was pretty fun. But overall, I only have the free champions at the moment. I haven't invested a ton of time in it, like I was saying, but I've definitely tried out all of the free champions, and I've only had it for like a week. So this is going to be the second week, so I haven't had a chance to try out some of the new champions, but I'm definitely looking forward to playing that a little bit more and investing some more time into that game. But like I said, it's not my cup of tea right now, but I'm definitely just going to keep giving it shots, and there'll definitely be improvements. It is an alpha, remember, so there's definitely going to be like a major overhaul by the time it gets released, guaranteed. So I'll just keep playing it and check every week and see what's going on.
Alright, yeah. And they're gonna... this weekend is PAX East, so it's gonna be actually a rather large amount of information be given out on not just heroes. I think they're gonna be showing off 4 new heroes, a whole bunch of demos and conversations about the game, as well as, of course, Warlords of Dreanor is going to be there, and Diablo 3, I think, is going to be there for the PS4, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. And I know Hearthstone is going to be there as well. Alrighty. Yeah. Alright, so since Beta picked his quad, what should we talk about now? Diablo 3 or Warlords? What would you like to talk about first? Diablo it is. Alright. Now, we're gonna talk about Diablo and I guess more refined impressions. Like what we've done, what we like, what we don't like. And then I want each one of us to have a number in our head. Actually, 2 different numbers. One about Reaper Souls just by itself. 1 out of 5. 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. I'm not gonna pull tricky shit. And then another number from 1 to 10, based on how much the game has improved since Diablo 3 to Reaper Souls. So just keep that in mind. Let it simmer in your heads. And questions you picked, I'll let you go first. Let us know about your experiences, what you've done, what you like, what you don't like, and then Beta, you'll go next, and then I'll go last, and then we'll give our numbers and impressions.
like how the wizard's actually really good now, even after the nerf. Because the nerf was fairly devastating initially to me, because it was my favorite class. I love the CM wizard. However, your fingers don't hurt when you play it now.
Macros.
Yeah, I haven't got too much farther into it after that, to be honest with you. Again, still holding out. Gotta love the ladder.
You're one of those guys, eh?
I'm one of those guys.
Well, Bev, have you at least gotten a level 70 character, your impressions of all the monsters, fights, that kind of stuff?
Yes. I didn't really like the last fight too much, to be honest.
What?
Yeah. I don't know, it came too fast. I liked the fight where you fought the dude that's shooting stuff from the roof that's falling. Now, at that point, by the time I got there...
The hardcore killer.
Yeah,
there.
By the time I got to him, I was still on Torment, and it was like 66 or something. And it took me like 20 minutes to kill him, and that was the point where I had to lower the difficulty. And that was a really good fight. But the last fight, it just didn't do for me. It seemed like you couldn't avoid as much stuff. No matter what you were doing, you were gonna have to tank a lot of hits. Maybe I'm just bad.
Alrighty. That's it for you, Quad. Beta, what are your impressions? What do you like? What have you done? And what's this whole lovers clan that you're in? I need info.
Yeah, so, yeah, basically after I got home from the Diablo 3 launch party that happened just a couple weeks ago, I've been playing Diablo 3 pretty much non-stop. My main is a wizard. I had a hardcore wizard before the expansion, but after playing with Dread and some other people, I decided to go softcore just for a little while, and I'll probably go back to hardcore later because that's kind of my end game. But I started a new wizard as a main, and I'm leveling her up. It's fun. I do enjoy Act 5, most of it, minus those stupid freeze gates that zap you and are all over the place in Act 5.
Yeah, I have no worries with those, because I found of course, you go to call them out, and you forgot the name of them. Ice climbers, I got a pair of those. I do not need to worry about those anymore.
Yeah, so Act 5 was pretty enjoyable. Like, we've already played through most of Act 5 already on the beta servers, so all that was really left for me was the final fight. And honestly, when I played the final fight, I got rushed through it, so it lost a lot of that hype value that you get by just like soloing it and like getting the adrenaline from the fight going. It was kind of not there, so I kind of lost that. But it was still fun, and I've killed Mephael a couple times now, and I do enjoy the fight. It is difficult. It's definitely difficult, especially on the harder Torment levels. I still die. I can solo Torment 3 pretty easily now. I've got about 1.45 mil DPS, and I still die on that even with all my toughness and health and uber gear. So yeah, that's that fight. But overall, I'm not going to go to my final score yet because I think we're saving that, but I definitely do enjoy this expansion, yeah.
Alrighty. I'll get that whole Lovers Clan thing out of you eventually. But launch night was, I don't know quite if you played it at like the start of midnight, but I took that Tuesday off. On a wish and a prayer, I was going, you know what? I was saying, Blizzard hopefully learned their lesson, and it's not going to be a repeat of Era 37 and be like, you know, Era was, what would that be? What, 74? You know, 37 doubled it, if I did my math right. Double it! Twice the errors. Four times the connection issues. Maniacal laugh.
Jay Wilson's back.
Stronger than ever.
I feel so bad. It's like, he's just gonna... He made a meme of himself, dude. He did it for himself, right? Like...
See, the thing is, I have to make sure it was actually him. I'm pretty sure it was him, but like an
it was him.
Shoot. Okay, well,
I
whatever.
definitely remember like a video that he posted. He's like, yeah, and I've actually watched the video again recently. He's like, and then we doubled it, like.
All right. Well, before we get off on a tangent, sure. Wait. Okay, let's get back. Yeah, so I played at launch night. I did everything recommended. I had everything downloaded, optimized. Was waiting at the Act 4 screen, and the hotfix went through. All of a sudden, poof! JC Monkey and myself were in a group, and we magically appeared in Act 5. We hit start game. We saw Diablo 3 servers were busy. Please wait for like 3 seconds, and it was just 3 seconds when we were in and we were playing, and we never had to disconnect. It was smooth sailing. In fact, I don't think any of the people who were on Mumble that I was playing with in the Shadow Soulstone community, shout out to Shadow Soulstone and Negative Nancy, even though I love him as a wizard. Yeah, well, I don't think any of us had connection issues that entire launch night. It was a dramatic change, and very much welcome from what happened with the Diablo 3 launch at midnight, which was really 3 o'clock in the morning for us East Coasters, which we actually able to create and play our characters at like 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, a much different experience. And thank you, Blizzard, for making it at least midnight East Coast, 9 p.m. Pacific time. Please do that for every game going forward. Gives us more.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. You know, being Pacific.
Hell, I don't care.
Everybody
like,
wins.
I like actual meaningful playtime. You know, not like half dead at 3 o'clock in the morning, or like alarm clock raids from back in the day. It's like, all right, I'm up, but I'm not coherent.
The thing is, though, like, yeah, exactly. You can go to sleep at like 9 p.m. and then get up in time at like 3 a.m. to play the game, right? Like.
You're good, but you're not really there. You're not really enjoying it.
You're too excited. You got the adrenaline pumping through you. There's no way you're still going to bed at 9 a.m., 9 p.m.
No. So, as I said, we got in, we played. We started at Torment 1, and we were the group that we were in. It was Jamie, myself, and I think 2 other people. I forget who was with us. I'm sorry, I forget. It was a blur that night. We got up to around 65, 66. It was actually, like I said, how Quad said, Urgil, and he was just a mean bastard. we had no hope. So I think we dropped it down to expert, and it got a little bit better. We were able to kill him, and then as we pressed forward, got up to the battlefield and all that, it got a little bit. It just took. It wasn't like it was getting harder. It just took longer because all the monsters were getting level 70 equivalent health, and we didn't have the damage really on our side anymore from the buffed out Legacy 60 gear, and we weren't really getting upgrades yet, particularly. So we had to drop it down again to expert, and then lo and behold, we get up to our little friend. Turncoat, Angel, Methael. Oh god. I think we wiped about 7-8 times on him, dropping it down from expert to hard and then finally just saying like, alright, screw it, just put it on normal, for crying out loud. And it was interesting because I don't think I've ever had the experience of learning a boss of that kind of complexity in like WoW with like a raid group first off, but not knowing the raid boss at all. Like, being part of those elite guilds that get there the first time, and they're just trying to figure out what the heck the boss does, let alone trying to figure out, like, positions and what the attacks are, how much damage you do, and any other tricky mechanics. And since I already knew, and since you already knew that Black Hole Event Horizon sucks up stuff, I'm like, let's see how much of this it actually sucks up. So, the skulls that fly around, the stuff that shoots out from him in Phase 1, and the skulls actually that shoot out from the center in Phase 1 can all be sucked up with the Event Horizon, so I was on duty for that ASAP. And then in Phase 2, when he ports to the center and does the meteors that go out from the center outwards, those can all be sucked up. So I basically took off the wizard hat and put on the Mr. Clean picker-upper hat, and that was my sole duty, because if I did that well, we all stayed alive a lot longer. And then the only thing we had to really worry about was those stupid fog clouds of death that always moved towards the dead bodies that you would try to resurrect, and then you would die, and then someone else would try to resurrect you. It was really horrible. But we eventually got him down. We were all around 67, 68, and then we basically went to adventure mode, got to 70, and then just started getting gear. And that was pretty much my launch night. As far as the game overall, I really like how the game shaped up. The things that they did in between the closed beta and release, they put a little bit more shine on it. Drop rates to me, even though with the impending hotfix of, if I remember correctly, chests are going to be a little bit far and fewer between, a little bit more scarce, but the loot they drop will stay the same, and the loot that uniques drop will be thinned out because they were apparently dropping way too much. But on the flip side, the already 25% buff to legendary drop rates that Rifts have is actually pumped all the way up to 100%. But it's still 100% of another multiplier. So it's not going to be like you're going to go in and kill a goblin and get 2 legendaries. It's not going to be like that. But it's still going to be a 4 times buff on top of the already 25% within the first 2 weeks. So at least Blizzard is not being stingy with the drop rates, how they were for way too long in vanilla, and that was a real crippling to a lot of the community back then, as far as, you know, just progression of your character, let alone any kind of standalone builds. But I feel drop rates are still kind of enigmatic, like understanding where to go for what, like just basic what's torment only, what's only in the bags, and then what you can get just in the world. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's nice because it put effort in, but then again, now they're emphasizing loot runs, so do you really need to? I mean, difficulty, yeah, all that kind of stuff. So I guess it's the best case scenario, but it would be nice if, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But
I don't either, man.
I'm lost in a fog of my own confusion on that one.
Deep.
Yeah, but basically it would be nice if drop rates were, I guess, a little bit more known, or I guess if like the set items weren't so damn rare. Because I've gotten so many of other legendary items, yet I haven't gotten even a wink at any others, and I haven't seen probably more than 2 or 3 people with other set items. Like, they just seem so much rarer, it's a little bit unnecessary, to tell you the truth. I guess that's what I was trying to get at. But other than that thought issue, I think they did a really good job. I think the game is in a really solid place, and I'm actually willing to try out seasons, believe it or not. You know, being so against them at the beginning of Diablo 3 when I started, and then, you know, I'll be willing to give it a shot to make it worthwhile. and the whole tiered rifts that they're going to be implementing. I'll definitely give those a shot for a while. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I really like where the game is, and it does have a not only a bright future, but it's a future that we already know where it's going, not in vague terms or ideas like, oh, PvP will be out, in 6 months, or patch 1.1, or, here's brawling. Like, it actually seems like there's a roadmap that they have internally, and they're following it, and they're actually gonna give us stuff, not just, half-hearted promises.
Yeah. There's definitely more interaction from the development team this year. They just released patch notes, and in the patch notes it actually had philosophies to go along with the reason of the changes. So that was nice to see.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I haven't I feel so ashamed. I'm gonna slap my own wrist right now. There we go. I won't do that register. I'll do it again. Because I wanted to actually get him on Twitter and say like, "Oh, that's awesome." And I'm willing to bet it cuts down on a lot of the questions that get asked of them, like why they do this change, because it's already done out there in a nice short paragraph for each one of the things. Tell them what was wrong, what's the philosophy, and why they did it, and what's going forward for each thing, for the classes at least. So it definitely was a welcome change, and I definitely hope to keep that going forward, because if anything, it just gives us insight, and I guess in some cases gives us more ammunition to throw back at them. But I hope most people won't use it in that way, and will just take it for what it is with a little grain of salt. And remember, this is their game, they make it, we just play it. But yeah, so great things overall. So
Another thing that I forgot about, it's already passed, but we should probably still talk about it, is that they re-enabled the bonus EXP for this last weekend. So since they just had that EXP going for a long time before the patch, and they were already seeing it again, it makes me wonder if that's going to be a pretty regular thing. Maybe every other week we're going to see EXP bonuses to the game.
I know, and it makes you wonder, like, could they be thinking about doing holiday events? Like Halloween, there's like a weird one-off like boss, or a couple of like unique bosses. Like you go to the Fields of Misery and there's like a giant scarecrow you have to kill, and you can get like his helm as a transmog. Like don't tease me like this, Blizzard. Don't tease me, Murray. It's like they actually have a legitimate reason for holiday events, and it would just be for transmogs, which wouldn't be game-changing items because they just be visual elements only, and then it would give little reasons to play throughout the year. Like definitely Halloween's a big one. Christmas is definitely a big one. St. Patrick's Day would be a big one. But even Valentine's Day in a weird way with idea. Let's not come up with ideas for that one, but you get the point. It's like they could potentially fill 4 to 6 holidays pretty easily and fit it within the lore of the areas and of the game itself. I mean, it's pretty much ripe for it.
Yeah, it's Deckard Cain's birthday, so we need to celebrate with EXP.
Yeah, why not?
Oh yeah, those ponies could easily be the Easter Bunny land.
Oh my god, why did I haven't thought about that? Even though I think it'd be a little cryptic finding a weird mutated giant bunny in Wintershire. That may lead to weird questions on Easter Day if your kids are watching you play. You're like, oh my god, what's a bunny? No!
Explodes.
Yeah. Anyways, so I know I could add a whole lot more, but it just gets a little bit redundant at times, and we still have WoW Alpha to talk about. So if none of you have anything to add, I would like to give our scores out if we could. But if any of you have anything else to add, you can add it now, or forever hold your peace. forever.
I think the butcher needs a Santa Claus hat.
Yeah.
And a red suit. Wait, here he has
Oh,
one.
man.
It's blood.
He doesn't have presents though. He just got a bunch of meat in his bag.
He just has a bunch of meat sacks.
He's a meat bag.
Oh god. Alright, so quad. Reaper Souls by itself, 1 to 5, and then Reaper Souls experience compared to Diablo 3 vanilla experience. How much better is it on a scale of 1 to 10?
The game itself, I liked it. It was fun. But I don't... again, I'm holding out. So... I'm gonna give it a 4, because I absolutely plan on coming back to it. 4 out of 5? Is that right?
Okay, that's right. And
then,
the 1 out of 10 Reaper Souls compared to Diablo 3.
If we're comparing it to what they brought us initially, I have to give it a 9. Because initially, it was... there's not words to describe it.
Alright. Very acceptable. Beta, about you. Same thing.
Okay, so Reaper Souls expansion. I really like the game. Like, this is basically overall. We're talking about Diablo through just playing through the game normally now. It's fun. It's definitely worth a playthrough. Again, I probably have to agree with Quad. Maybe like a 4.5 out of 5. Like, it's definitely worth your playthrough and definitely worth buying. The expansion. It's fun. It's 2 weeks of solid enjoyment. But I'm really looking forward to the seasons, and more important than the seasons, I think, in my opinion, is the new Rift ladder system now. I thought about the seasons, and I kind of realized something. I was like, why am I excited for for seasons, right? Like, there's no auction house. Basically, it would just be like re-rolling, like everyone re-rolls their character, which is fine. I mean, those are good opportunities to pick up the game again with your friends, which I think is very important for a game like this. So I'm looking forward to those. But I have to say, overall, the feel from how it is from original Diablo to Reaper of Souls, I'd probably have to give it. And it's going to sound a little bit harsh, but probably a 6. 6 out of 10. Just because, even though it is better than how it was originally, there isn't a whole lot of new stuff, like new innovative stuff. Basically, they fix stuff that should have basically this expansion feels like it should have been the release, right? Like, fixes damage coefficients on spells, fix the stats to make them relevant, fix your gear so that they're actually meaningful. It's like fixes and fixes and fixes, and it feels pretty much like the original game, in my opinion. And once we see more, they already said that they're releasing more content very soon after the expansion comes out, and I believe that's going to be true. I don't know if we're going to be seeing PvP, but we're getting our PvE PvP, which is what a lot of people were requesting anyway. So it still feels like the original game, which is fine, but it lost my attention after a while, and so that's about all I gotta say about that.
Alrighty. Now, Reaper Souls by itself, as the game and how everything is, I have to go. I have to go about a 4 point. Okay, fine. There's no ranges. I'm the one who gave it. I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5. They did really well. The story was, even though I think some parts were simplified a little bit too much, I feel the story was there, it was prevalent, and it was linked to every area very well. I think all the enemies and all the new affixes after being tweaked, and after everything we play through and friends and family, with from everything being a placeholder and half the weapons having a string name to the finished product, they really did put in a ton of effort. And it really does show. I mean, there's too much to give them praise for about just the game itself, in a vacuum. But simply saying, 4.5 out of 5. I really do believe that's a solid score. Now, when it comes to comparing Diablo 3 RoS Souls to Diablo 3, when basically at the end of the game, it's kind of harsh to judge, the beginning of each one, because you can't. It's like giving a 1 to 10 is like it's a 20 from where Diablo 3 started to where RoS Souls started. I mean, there's no comparison. There's no objective way to do that. But from the last bit of Diablo 3 to the beginning of RoS Souls, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10, because I really want to scream out 10 and be a fanboy and be like, it's the best thing ever. But the analytic part of me does agree with a lot of points you brought up, Beta. It's like, a lot of the things were, okay, we're taking monster power away, but we're integrating it directly into the difficulty, which is a great thing. Paragon, we're actually making it more meaningful. That can be disputed because some people still want Magic Find no matter what, and they'll die for it, which they have a right to have that. But make Paragon actually more meaningful as far as your choices, at least in the beginning, with the talent system, but it's just reworking it. Crafting is getting there, but some parts of it are just still too expensive for nothing but glorified rares at this point. It's kind of a hard thing. But they, even though every time we've talked about Diablo 3 said they're on the right path, those always wound up seeming like incremental steps forward, where in Diablo 3 RoS Souls, like, shit ain't working, alright, we're changing it now. Like, they've done so much stuff within the first 2 weeks that took them months and months to do with Diablo 3. It's like, when I say an 8.5, I feel that's a good, solid score, and I feel that score is just a base. Like, that's the minimum. Like, with ladders and with seasons, that's what they're calling it. And the tiered rifts comes out with what is actually more stuff to do, just besides legendary hunting at this point. And anything else they bring in past that point, because those aren't the, I mean, people's heads exploded when they heard that, but they didn't think, wait, there could be more after that. Yeah, I mean, that could very easily go up to like a 9.5 after a full year of development has been put in. And to kind of steal a line or two from our good friend Zipco over at Red Team Gaming, if they do right with seasons, and they do right with these tiered rifts, and they expand on them, and they keep on expanding on systems, making them right, and bringing them forward, Diablo 3 RoS Souls can be the standalone, this is the shit action RPG, and nothing else will touch it. So that's where I'll say. So I give it 8.5 with a future of being 11 if they do everything right.
Yeah, exactly. Based off what we've seen so far and how fast they are producing content, they've definitely upped their game, and it's a very, very pleasant surprise. And My score, it was pretty low, but that being said, I can definitely see it being much higher in the next couple months. But you know, until we start seeing the new content actually come out, which, you know, they said that they are doing these, and the game will be much better. So.
Alrighty. So with that, we conclude our Diablo 3 Reaper Souls review and impressions. Now I'm gonna take a mouth breathing break, and Beta, I'll let you talk about Warlords or Dreanor Alpha, since Squad still has fan issues because it's only, you know, just below freezing in Fahrenheit. You funny Canadians, you. Go away, Beta. Have at it.
Oh god, where do you start? So yeah, I hope you didn't want to keep your rotations or anything like that, because, you know, they're basically revamping all the classes again. So it's, you know, it's a very typical expansion launch where they do a huge overhaul of the talents. I don't think they did so much of an overhaul of the talent. They definitely added more talents to the current system that they're doing. They're taking away and adding a bunch of spells to each of the characters. I think they're trying to kind of compress some of the abilities. Like on the mages, I saw that fire mages don't get Kuna Cold, they get Dragon's Breath now, which is a very similar mechanically, so that makes sense that they wouldn't be able to have both of them. So they're condensing down spells, so you won't have as many buttons to press, but functionality, I think they'll be very similar, and you probably won't even notice very much of a difference. But like, for example, I saw that they removed Cleaved for the warrior. Now, if you've played like D&D or, you know, Baldur's Gate or basically any other RPG, they're like, Cleave is like a main ability, and it's kind of just embedded into the dungeon scene, like the RPG scene. So it kind of struck me a little bit personally that they just removed such a powerful ability from the game, and not just, like, you know, in damage terms, but in, you know, an RPG sense. I know it kind of sounds a little bit corny, but you know, it was definitely one of my favorite abilities to use in, like, when you're playing D&D and stuff. So it's kind of tough to see that go, but from a design standpoint, we'll have to see where that takes us. Now, a lot of information has been data mined. We've got garrisons that are coming, which are going to be basically your own little personal houses that you have to take care of, with mercenaries that you'll be able to send on missions to go run dungeons and collect gear, and you're going to be able to like level some of your professions, I believe, and all kinds of crazy features, and you're going to be able to upgrade them and place them in the new Outlands area, which is actually the old Outlands, the new old Outlands. It's funny as that it is to say. We've also got new character models. I believe the Night Elf model has been data mined, even though it's not official release yet. And we saw the Tauren. The Tauren just got announced. The new Tauren models just came out the other day, and they're looking really good. I'm actually really impressed by the art team and how they're able to keep the feel of the original models while updating the pixels, basically, the angles, the number of triangles that are going to be in those models. So they look really, really well polished, and they feel very similar to the original ones. So kudos to them for that. But let's see here, what else we got? So PvP is kind of going over another overhaul again. They're doing a bunch of changes with healing and crowd control effects. Mostly, they're basically bunching up a bunch of crowd control effects so that there's less diminishing returns, which I think will lead to probably like less health pools, since you won't need to hang around as long. So I think we'll definitely be seeing some more dynamic PvP. You know, every expansion they kind of promise us there's going to be a big PvP overhaul, and there is. They do an overhaul, but you know, they learn kind of from past mistakes, and that, you know, they keep improving and they keep improving. And I'm not gonna lie, like I'm kind of falling for it again. Like every year, I kind of fall for it and saying, you know, this expansion, look, the PvP looks good.
The
Yeah.
HP, they're after the stat squish is done, HP is doubling.
Interesting. Yeah. So, well, it'll
Yeah.
definitely be interesting to see how the PvP goes then, because, you know, if they're gonna double the HP pools, they're probably gonna have to buff some of the damage, I imagine. Maybe lower the resilience. You know, we don't really have a whole lot of information right now on, you know, what they're gonna do for the PvP scene. But as we start getting some official invites to the alpha, I imagine we'll start getting to explore that a little bit more. But we've got professions no longer have combat benefits, kind of tagging onto that PvP aspect. So there's really, you know, from a PvP, you don't really need to have professions anymore to be the best of the best, right? Like, it was so tedious having to level 520 jewel crafting to get the best resilience gems as a healer. Like, don't have to do that anymore. Thank God. Hopefully,
No more
that's not the
mages with
case.
skinning.
Yeah, yeah. So, hopefully, you know, I wonder if they're gonna do away with all of them, or they're just gonna not work in PvP. Not really sure how it's gonna work now, but you know, if the blacksmiths get to keep their sockets and their glove and then their wrists, it could lead to some issues. I imagine they said that they're taking all of them away, so I imagine they are going to take them away, but we'll have to see how that is. Racial traits, they revamped the racial abilities for a lot of classes, and we are talking about that in previous podcasts. Some of the more interesting ones, Night Elves get, I think it's haste during the day. They get 1% haste during the day and then 1% crit at the night. So it, you know, I'm not really entirely sure if that's going to be based off your server time or the local time at the server you're at.
They might have a day-night cycle.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
so...
a half-an-hour day-night cycle or something. Some games do that.
Hit and expertise have been removed from the game, kind of tying onto that PvP. Well, this definitely affects both, but so it looks like you don't even need to get hit capped anymore, so you're just not going to miss your attacks anymore, which I think is pretty nice. You know, it's kind of a, it's always, you know, we all have that moment, right, when we're in PvP and you need to get a Frost Nova off or you're gonna die because you've got a warrior on your tail, and you go to cast Frost Nova, it misses, you get executed, and you're just not a happy camper. So I'm actually pretty excited that that's gone, especially you know, with like Night Elves, they had that extra chance to resist spells, you know, 2%, right? But you know, you're like, oh, I'm hit capped, but I still missed my attack. So that was always pretty frustrating. So it'll be nice to not have to get that anymore. It's just kind of like a filler stat, it felt like.
Mages are awesome.
Yeah, Quad we got some of the new talents leaked for the level 100 abilities, I believe.
Oh, I've been thinking about doing my mage again instead of, you know, anything else.
Yeah, the mages get a new ability that makes them immune to damage, that they can cast while casting, and just become invulnerable to all effects. So, and it's on a 45-second cooldown. So it's basically ice block that you can cast spells with on a shorter cooldown. So it's good to see that.
I love it for a mage. I haven't played in 2 years, and I love it. Mage pride all the way.
Yeah, it's funny that they talk about balancing PvP and then they go give mages like the most ridiculous abilities. It's there was I remember, I think it was last year or the year before that, they're like, April Fool's joke, mages get free 2200 as soon as they hit level 90, and it honestly, with buffs like that, it kind of feels like it.
One thing I like is when you're leveling from 90 to 100, there's new like perks that you get, like each level, 9 perks as you're leveling, and they come in a random order. So whatever those perks be, if you level an alt, you'll have different perks on the way. So it'll be not exactly the same experience.
Yeah. Some other minor things that they've changed. Some spells like backstab. I don't think backstab's in the game anymore. I don't even know what the new ability is called, but it's basically just like stab, and they've removed a lot of the have to be behind target opponent requirements, and made it so you can, you know, if you want, you could use it from the front, but it does like half damage or something, which kind of makes sense. But I did enjoy the theme of backstab, so it's kind of sad to see that go. It feels like they're kind of just catering to, you know, lazy players.
Keyboard turners who can't get behind people.
Pretty much, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. With I'm really excited about the free boost to 90. You know, maybe a couple of my friends, we get together and do a dungeon. And with the flexible raid system also being implemented, this expansion, being bumped up to I think you can do it in like normal difficulty now. I don't know about like heroic, but I'm definitely looking forward to this expansion. But you know, data is still being rolled in. You know, they still have got a bunch of races to overhaul. A lot of the zones. MMO Champion did leak the zones, but then they took all their photos down because Blizzard asked them to. There's no streaming of the alpha on Twitch currently, so it's very closed, and we'll just see. We'll just keep an eye out on the forums. There's still a bunch of data rolling in. There's still a bunch of information being data mined every day. So that's about it for me.
As a druid tank, I'm loving the changes.
What's that?
They're removing the cooldowns on your rage generating abilities, so you can generate rage when you need to.
Yeah, that is good.
It just sounds like druids in early Hearthstone, like, oh, I just need to kill 5 enemies. Alright, Starfire. Poof. No, I just need to kill one thing. Okay, Starfire again. Poof. Sorry. War flashbacks of Hearthstone in the early days. Back when those cockatrice emulations. The horror.
Good
the horror.
Well,
anyways.
Nobody uses Starfire anymore.
Yeah. Well, let's not get out of the Hearthstone tangent.
Oh, I do. Dude, that card's value. It says value in the title. It's just like, I'm gonna remove one of your big dudes, and I'm gonna cantrip. It's like the bomb.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Oh, we should talk about Hearthstone.
Yeah.
We're already at like an hour.
It's okay. It'll be quick because there's not a lot to talk about. There's no new patches yet, but there is a couple golden nuggets.
I like the phrasing.
Yeah. So season 1 started this month. It is still going on, and if you complete, I think it's up to like rank 20, so it's very easy to get. I don't think you can go down in rank. You'll get the new Pandaren back sleeves, and if you get legendary this season, you'll also get the legendary backs. So that's a very, very big incentive, and I think I will try to hit legendary this season towards the end. It's always easier to get legendary towards the end because more people have hit legendary, and it just makes the competition easier. So I think I will try to hit legendary this season, but they also leaked an image on, I think it was on Twitter, but I think it's been posted other places now, that was of 2 swords, and it didn't really have a title to it, but a lot of people are assuming that it is linked to the new adventure mode.
And it's weird. Like, I have no idea why I thought this, because it's a neutral back and it has 2 swords. One of them almost looks like a weird kind of clone of the other one, but they're kind of linked by this weird blue lightning, and I have no idea why I thought about it, but the first thing that came to mind, like, okay, it's something from the World of Warcraft. I'm like, dancing rune weapon? I'm like, why does that come to mind? But I'm like, it's a weapon. It's kind of a tinted kind of ghost form. They're connected by this lightning. It's neutral, so there is no Death Knight class. So they guess they could kind of work that in, or who knows what they could be bringing in this adventure mode. So that was the first thing I thought of. Or it may be a weird minion yet clones weapon card, like something really interesting. Yeah, that was my first impressions when I saw it.
Yeah. So, let's see here. We got the seasons. We got the new adventure mode. With the adventure mode, should come new cards. They did promise us new cards that you'll get to have and add to your collection that you can only get through adventure mode, I believe. So, looking forward to adding new cards. We don't know how many new cards are going to be, but I'm imagining at least 10. I know that sounds really low, but
20.
you know, we don't know how many they're going to give us. So I'm going to lowball it and say at minimum 10 cards, max probably 30.
That's 20.
50.
Whoa, buddy,
50
whoa.
new cards.
Just throw the format out of whack.
Yeah, I think that would change the meta pretty significantly. Now, I remember I was actually watching one of Crip's videos, and he's talking about ways that he would like to see the game improve, and he had a very interesting idea, which I'm kind of taking a liking to. He's like, you know, what if at the end of every season they added like 5 new cards? That would just like completely change up the meta every season. I thought that was an interesting idea. I think that might be a little bit too much, but it would be cool if they added like maybe 1 or 2 cards at the end of every season. Like, I think that would be very manageable to balance.
5 cards is legit. I mean, 60 cards a year seems about right.
Yeah.
Well, the game has proven that there have been strong decks, and then a week later there's the counter deck, and then a week later there's the counter deck, so on and so forth. So the game does have enough cards and enough meta to go around to counter the new hotness, so to speak, that's been basically happening ever since the game came out, with all the even after all the fixes and tweaks and adjustments to the cards. I don't know though, like 5 cards, it's like everyone would get them and use them, but then
Yeah.
counter decks would happen. But are the old cards good enough to counter the new cards? So you would have to do this kind of weird pseudo balancing of the new cards and possibly new effects versus the old ones. It seems a little, if you're trying to introduce something new, you want to introduce something new. You don't want to have to try to keep on balancing it to the progressively older and older cards. eventually you have to reach a point where you're just going to bring something new into the game, but if you bring it in and more or less, you know, with like a 20-ton hammer, like, okay, it's here, deal with it, and then make adjustments afterwards. But who knows? I haven't played that much Hearthstone, and you guys certainly have.
Isn't that funny how that worked out? You're all like, I'm gonna play Hearthstone. I'm gonna be the guy in charge of Hearthstone. And it was like, Beta, you're gonna do Hearthstone.
Well, Diablo 3 Rebirth Souls happened. I mean, it just shows.
I can't blame you, man.
It just shows we're fluid here. We're very
Yeah.
fluid in our movements in the games that we like and everything else. But before we go into the last little closing, I guess, any of you have anything else to add that we may have missed?
Rank 5. Woo!
Nope.
Harrison Jones is being played all the time now. Like everybody's playing.
Good.
Really?
That card is
Wow.
like super value. Like, how many cards in Hearthstone let you draw more than one card? Very few.
What, like Graceful Charity? Wait, that's a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Pot of Greed? No,
Oh yeah.
face
Oh,
palm.
I love
If
those.
you- Because if you think about it, Harrison Jones is like mega tempo, right? Like, A, you get a 5/4 dude. B, you remove their weapons, so you're already like getting two guys. And then C, you're drawing probably, I think it's by toughness, so you know, at least a card. You're at least getting a cantrip out of it. You're probably getting more than that too. You know, if you're fighting a paladin or a warrior, you're probably gonna get 3 or 4 extra cards out of it. And it's just
You
like,
Harrison Jones at Jiraxis and draw 7 cards.
no, then that just kills yourself.
That's too much of a good thing.
Yeah. Then you just take fatigue damage until you die. But yeah, I could definitely see that card being played, and I'm happy it's being played because I think it was definitely undervalued a little bit.
Alrighty. So, with that said, let me bring this grindcast to a close. We made it! Yay! Alright, so, if you don't know already, you can catch us on Twitter at GrindExp or on Facebook at, not at, but, you know, just search for GrindExp. You can find us on the website, also, grindexp.com, as well as search for us on the forums there. Come on, talk to us. We don't bite, we promise. Maybe Quad does, but
Quad bites.
He's had all his shots. Don't worry, folks. We are planning on giving away, you know, a soup to nuts, vanilla to, I think, a Mr. Pandaria, World of Warcraft chest that are. I feel so bad now just made fun of him. That Quad will be donating to the contest. For shame. I'm
Not donating anymore. Revoked.
I'm gonna go sit in the corner for 10 minutes after this podcast is done. That we'll be doing a contest. We already have an idea and how long it's gonna go for. Usually when we do these things, so stay tuned to Twitter and Facebook and the website for that contest. As well as I will be recording Scythe and Shield number 3 tomorrow with 2 members from the Shared Soulstone community, not the actual podcast, but the community of players. It will be a hardcore edition, you know, the state of hardcore. Is hardcore still good? Have they kind of neglected it? Or is it actually better than it used to be? All that and more will be asked during that Scythe and Shield tomorrow when I interview 2 people. So that'll be a first one for the Scythe and Shield. 2 people interview. Yay, me and editing. Like I don't do it enough. So I think that does it for this Grindcast. I thank you for sitting with us during this wacky wild adventure, free-flowing time, and for my 2 peeps over here, Quad and Beta, and myself. Have a good night, folks.
Good night.